In the world of bike shop people, we all get wrapped up in being hardcore cyclists, be it roadie, cyclocross, mountain bikers. So you don't often hear a ton of excitement about a bike that is just a bike. But if you're going to make just a bike, this is probably just about the best example of just a bike that I've seen. So this is basically a bike for that person who just wants to ride the streets, the paths, get out around home, maybe to do a commute, and to look kind of cool while they're doing it. This is the 2021 Marin Kentfield 2. They make two different versions of it. I love the Kentfield 2, so that's what we brought in. And I'm going to tell you the details of why this is just such an awesome just a bike. Let's get into it. So I call this just a bike because it doesn't fit into any of our standard classifications of being a mountain bike, a road bike, a cyclocross, or anything else. This pretty much defines a bike that is just that sort of thing you have in your garage so that you can go out for a ride, be that 20-minute ride down to the coffee shop or a couple hours on your local paths. There's a few things about this that I think are actually quite extraordinary, and I'm going to tell you about those and why you should maybe consider this as your next just a bike. So to start with, you may notice on this guy here that we do not have a front derailleur. We just have a single front chainring, and part of why I love this bike is the simplicity of operation. If you look at the handlebars here, you only have one shifter there. So you have 10 gears on this bike, yet this bike has more gear range than a lot of 21 speed bikes that would have 3 rings in the front and 7 in the back. So all that complexity gone, now you just have 2 buttons that you're pressing with your thumb to get a full range of gears. So there is your 2 little thumb buttons. There is your range of gears, and those go from 11 teeth to 51 teeth. That may not mean anything to you, but basically that tells you that you've got an amazing hill climbing gear and something that will probably get you beyond the speed limit if you have speed limits on your local pathway system. This is an aluminum frame. We have a really tall, that's the head tube of the bike right there. So what that does is it gives this bike a little bit of a distinctive shape, but it also puts you in a pretty comfortable seating position, but without getting too over the top comfortable. What'll happen on a bike when you get the handlebars too high in comparison to the seat is you're really putting yourself at a disadvantage as far as being able to get power to the pedals. Of course, the people who like those tall handlebars are doing that because they're trying to achieve some comfort. And I think this bike is drawing a perfect line of still leaving you on a bike that's going to give you good, efficient pedaling, but also give you some great comfort. So we've got a taller front end than many bikes. We have a little bit of extra sweep on these handlebars, so we have quite a nice wide handlebar that's going to make you feel like you're in control of the wheel. If you hit some bumps, you're going to control where the bike goes, not the bike controlling your hands and telling you where it's going to go. So that's one of the things that gives us comfort and confidence and makes the bike ride quite nicely. We've got a nice comfortable saddle on here. It's not a massive saddle. What this leaves you, on some of those huge saddles, you're basically forced to ride your seat a little bit lower because the saddle is so wide that as your leg extends down to the bottom of your pedal stroke, you actually end up pushing yourself forward with the back of your thigh onto the narrow part of the saddle. So there is sort of a width that still allows you to sit in a comfortable position and get a good, efficient pedal stroke and have some support for your bum, and I think they're doing that just about right on there. There's that magic of that drivetrain that we're looking at. One of the things that also adds to this drivetrain working well is your local pathway system may have sections that are bumpy or you're going over curbs. This particular derailleur has a thing called a clutch in there, and what that does is in the on or off position is it actually gives us a strong spring here that prevents the chain from bouncing too much, and in combination with these teeth on here that vary between narrow and wide teeth, they will actually hold your chain much more securely. So if you're going over bumps, you're not going to lose a chain. So we've added simplicity with this system and also reduced the likelihood that you'll finish a ride with dirty fingers from having to pull your chain that's fallen between your chainring and your frame there. These tires are a good all-around tire. They're a 40C tire, so that means they're 40 millimeters wide. That's going to give you a nice balance of confidence, enough width that you're not going to feel skittish, but also narrow enough that they're going to roll really, really smoothly. And that tread pattern completes that story. If you're on nice smooth pavement, you're going to be on that smooth bit in the center. If you get into something a little bit looser, if you're cutting between roads or something and you're on a dirt path, then that's when these little side knobs are going to dig in a little bit more and give you a little bit more grip in the loose stuff. We have some mechanical disc brakes on here. Room for a couple water bottles. That aluminum frame, and it's a steel fork on here. The steel is just going to be a little bit more comfortable than if this was an aluminum fork. We have mounts on the fork, so you could put what they call a lowrider rack on here. So you could even use this as the most comfortable exploring bike ever, and you have room to put panniers on here. That's what that mount is for. Full wrap fenders if you wanted to. That's what those mounts are for, and those mounts are for rack and fender. So you really have a bike here that's going to be comfortable and could allow you to sort of pack it up and go on a little day's comfortable excursion. There's our mechanical disc brakes. So of course mechanical disc brakes, they help to keep this Marin Kentfield 2 at a reasonable price point of $759. But they're still going to be effective, and the magic with disc brakes over rim brakes is largely you're going to get more braking power, and then if you ever find yourself caught out in the rain or going through puddles, you will have more braking power on this guy than you would have if it was a rim brake bike. So this is the Marin Kentfield 2. It comes in this men's frame. It comes in a second chrome color in this same frame shape, and then it comes in two colors in a women's step-through design, which aren't super ladies specific colors. So we are starting to see those step-through designs being used by some gentlemen who may not have the best of mobility, but still want to ride a bike. So don't be afraid to get tempted to go with a step-through frame if you're a man. This is the 2021 Marin Kentfield 2. It is an awesome just a bike. If you're looking for something comfortable to go cruising the streets and paths, this might be the bike for you. I'm Graham from Bike Bros in Cochrane, Alberta. We love talking bikes and love putting people on the bike that it's going to put the biggest smile on their face. And for somebody, that's going to be the Marin Kentfield 2. Thank you so much.